Orange County Registered Digital.
Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show. This is our semi-final preview. We're here at Garden Grove. I'm being joined by Dan Albano and Steve Fryer. I'm your host, Jonathan Khamis. And guys, we usually talk about the Pac-5 to kick off the show, but not going to do it this week because all of our teams are out of it in Orange County. The only Trinity League team left is St. John Bosco. So we'll start off talking about the West Valley Division, and we'll transition into the Southwest. West Valley Division, guys, the last OC team left standing is Mission Viejo, and they take on Great Oak. And the Diablos last week defeated Rancho Cucamonga 38-35. Great Oak beat El Toro 27-24. Mission Viejo's running back Rome Innocenzi, he had 3 rushing touchdowns and a late one that gave Mission the lead. This was quite a game, Dan.
Oh, yeah. And a guy who came up big for Mission Viejo was Brock Johnson. Mm-hmm. It's, really his second really significant, clutch performance in the fourth quarter in a really meaningful game. The junior quarterback's really come along, and he's, proven to be a pretty clutch performer.
The winner of this game, Steve, plays the winner of Upland and Vista Murrieta. Yeah. Mission Viejo, they haven't lost in a long time.
Well, tradition never graduates, they say over there at Mission, don't they, Dan? And so, yeah, they've got it going on. And Brock Johnson, interesting to see, we knew he'd get better. A lot of pressure on that young man.
Yeah, and the thing about Brock is he's playing well when it matters in the playoffs. So we transition into the Southwest semifinals where Buena Park defeated Villa Park last week 14-0. That was a great shutout victory for Buena Park. And meanwhile, they're going to be at Trabuco Hills because Trabuco Hills finally ended Corona Del Mar's quest to go on a four-peat. Dan, this one has Game of the Week written all over it.
I think so, and we were, I was really focusing a lot on the offense, thinking about, that Buena Park offense and the Villa Park offense. I thought there'd be a lot more points, and I was stunned. That was one of the most surprising scores that I saw on Friday night. 14-0. Buena Park playing some serious D because we know what they can do on offense, fellas. So, man, Coach White is a defensive guy on that staff there. He's a head coach, but he's a defensive, he focuses more on defense, as far as his background. So credit to Coach White and the Coyotes, and they're going to have to play some serious D against Trabuco, which is on a roll right now. They played great D and they shut down Corona Del Mar.
Yeah, they sure did. Trabuco Hills limiting Corona Del Mar to only 10 points. We were at that game, Steve. It was my first time watching Jimmy Jacobs, and I was mighty impressed. 2 touchdowns, and Trabuco Hills. I think the sleeper teams throughout the year, maybe underrated, and they're really showing up when it matters most.
Yeah, in my little top 25 I had Trabuco Hills always somewhere like 10 through 15 because I knew they were really good. That offensive line for that group, boy, in that second half of that game, they took over the Trabuco Hills guys. And that's a very fast and very effective defense. They have a Corona Del Mar. For them to push those guys around in the second half, and Chad Crosby was just a horse, man. He was just doing great. And Jimmy Jacobs, he came through, and like you said, when I saw Trabuco play San Clemente a few weeks ago, I knew Sam Darnold was going to be great, but Jimmy Jacobs, I go, wow, this kid, he throws a pretty nice ball. So that's going to be a dynamite game. And like you were saying, Dan, Buena Park's defense, they're very fast on that side of the football, and they're going to give Trabuco Hills a heck of a push, man. It's going to be fun to see that one.
You mentioned San Clemente, and before we jump the gun, it could be a final in the Southwest Division between San Clemente and Trabuco Hills. But first of all, they got to get through their respective teams, and San Clemente has to get through Capistrano Valley, which is a Seaview League rematch. Capo beat Valencia last week 36-7. It's the first time the Cougs are in the semifinals since 1990. Also, the Tritons beat Foothill 56-7. Darnold with 5 touchdowns, Dan.
Yeah, I saw Capo Valley play last week against Valencia. I was very impressed. 26-7 victory. Like you said, they're really turning back the clock. Adam Gordon's a really good player down there, two-way player. He was all over the place. I mean, he returned a key 31-yard punt for a touchdown. He kicked a couple of field goals, caught a touchdown reception from Gavin Pruitt. They're very comfortable on offense. They run the hurry up. They spread it out. They're going to throw the ball all around the place like Sam Darnold. So that should be an interesting game. I think Capo has improved since they played San Clemente, and I think they could be a closer game this time because the Tritons handled them pretty well the first time.
Yeah, that first time it was in early October, Steve. The Tritons beat the Cougs 54-27. But what is it about a rematch in your league that you already played earlier in the year and you play each other in the playoffs? What do both teams have to avoid, some kind of pitfalls that they played earlier in the game in the season?
Well, you're going to have to throw in a couple of wrinkles this week, because they know each other so gosh darn well. They've been going, coach has been going to each of the other team's games, and not just when they played each other, but they're always in the stands. And sometimes the kids go to watch the other guys in the league play and all that. And so, throw in a couple of wrinkles. And, fellas, check out the quarterbacks that are in the semifinals. Pruitt at Capistrano Valley, Taylor at Buena Park, Darnold at San Clemente, and then, Jimmy Jacobs over at Tribuco. I mean, what a great group of quarterbacks in that Final Four.
You can't go wrong watching games in the Southwest. It's perennially one of my favorite divisions to cover in all of OC high school sports. All right, our thanks to Dan Albano and thanks to Steve Fryer. Make sure to check out the OCVarsity Gridiron Extra, where we will preview Garden Grove's road to a championship. I'm Jonathan Khamis, and check out OCVarsity.com for all your latest playoff info. That's OCVarsity.com, where we've got you covered.
Orange County Register. We are here in the service of Orange County.